Welcome back. 3 weeks ago, the Prime Minister launched the, and I'm not even kidding, 17th attempt to revitalize Port of Spain.
It is our intention not to make this 17th initiative another one, but to make it the last one.
In that 17th plan, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley hopes to fix what he says is a complete deterioration of the capital city.
Yeah, even he's fed up of himself. Look, Port of Spain is a dump. The Prime Minister says so himself.
There can be no rejuvenation in an environment where we accept the deterioration that has taken place on Queen Street. Queen Street is now the official toilet of Port of Spain. I've seen it written, he said in the text.
And I mean, few would disagree. This guy knows.
Every morning I had to pass and cook. That's what I had to take care of.
And it's not lost on me that the capital city has the same initials as piece of shit. But I'm not going to take you all the way back to the 70s with this, but as recently as 2005, Patrick Manning created a special purpose company, which was kind of his thing back then, called the East Port of Spain Development Company. Its purpose was to develop and redevelop a zone in East Port of Spain to improve the economic, social, and physical environment of those areas. But how's that working out for us? And the Prime Minister has been begging developers to build homes in Port of Spain since he took office. I support this because remember when the old Ministry of Social Development building burned down? Like, I had this dream of a multi-purpose building with apartments, and now it's a parking lot. Revitalizing Port of Spain has become kind of a joke or a final project for architecture students. Seriously, Google Port of Spain development and you'll be transported into a world of futuristic designs that will almost never see the light of day. We can't even get one street right. Let's start with Charlotte Street, the butt crack of the city. We stuck 2 arches on either end and called it Chinatown. It was supposed to come with new carts, new sidewalks, totally pedestrianized. And you truly want me to believe that we're going to stick a monorail in here? But you see, it's the one that got me. There's a plan to have a green space on the foreshore.
The expansion of green areas to aid in the city's green lungs involving land reclamation at the Mucurapo foreshore.
What if I told you that there was that exact thing already before? And it's now called Movie Town? Yeah, there were acres of mangrove. Mangrove helps prevent what? Floods. But, you know, you can't live without your overpriced chicken fingers and terrible movies now, can you? Every time there are talks of revitalizing Port of Spain that come up, so does the prospect of gentrification, the idea that people who've lived in the city their whole lives are now priced out of their homes because of rising market prices. It's a real problem. Just ask anyone who's ever lived in New York or Washington, D.C., and you can raise it as a real problem which needs to be addressed. Or if you are Arnold Roberts, you can unnecessarily scare people.
Acquisition means them taking your property, you have to move out. And here the other thing, when you move out, this document says that the money that they're going to pay you is going to be so low. Because over the years, they allowed your property values to diminish down to rock bottom with crime, bad roads, bad water, no electricity.
Now, when Fitzgerald Hines dragged the media out of their homes to open a bus shed a day later, I kid you not, a bus shed, you would have hoped that he would have at least had a decent response.
No, I didn't see it, and thank God I didn't. Who's Arnold Roberts?
And if you'd permit me a diversion, there are 2 problems here. Fitzgerald Hines, no, that's it. Just Fitzgerald Hines is a problem in itself. But the second problem, that we are slowly going down a dangerous path where the opposition has been going down this road of misinformation for so long, throwing out conspiracy theories in the form of questions that the government is not bothering to respond so long as you mention their name in a sentence. And this does not bode well for the credibility of the government, the opposition, and especially the media, who keep getting bounced around like it's a tennis match, trying to scrape some sort of credible information from either side. That's all a story for another time. But let's bring it back. And so it happens, there will be no plans to relocate anyone yet. And at least the Prime Minister was there to give some words of comfort and reassurance.
Port of Spain people, East Port of Spain people, please move the government from the move you. Because if you don't move, that means you'll stay in this squalor for another 40 years. The same thing to C-lots. If this PNM government come to tell you move, it's because you want to improve your condition and to make the best of the location that you now occupy.
I tell you, this man left all his compassion back when he had an afro. But on the bright side, if we've learned anything, these plans never get past stage one. Because, I mean, where are they going to go? And truly, who believes that they're going to be allowed back in? Oh, I'm told he wants to try again. Go ahead.
Be affected, and these families will be accommodated in the phase 1 units upon completion. It is anticipated that a rolling process will occur with the relocation with the subsequent phases, and therefore, Madam Speaker, there ought to be no anxiety or unmanageable issue with respect to the relocation of persons.
Aha, so that's all you had to say. Please move into the new homes that we've built for you. And finally, as we're on the subject of where to go, the homeless. Gregory Aboud, founding and probably sole visible member of DOMA, says the best way to deal with them is to just move along.
So what you do is, your municipal police come along and tap them and say you have to move along. And after a while of being forced to move and to move and to move, they eventually get the idea and go down to the facilities which the mayor has built down at the Riverside Plaza and so on. So I would like to make a public plea for the enactment of the Move Along program.
And the Minister of Planning is like, well, that's not a bad idea, but...
We have not said anything about incarcerating any of the members of the homeless. There are 52 of them in Port of Spain, and as I said, the Ministry of Social Development is well aware, and that is why we've been working with the mayor and the police for that exact same reason, that move along that Mr. Aboud spoke about. But it is an issue that has to be handled very delicately because of the court decision.
Yeah, you know she'd very happily lock them up if it weren't for that court order. Because, I mean, the last guy who tried that. In the end, any development in Port of Spain comes down to, well, what's in it for me? The developers are going to need every incentive government could possibly provide, and the current residents need a good reason to move from their very convenient, prime, even if not ideal location. Government, by their own admission, cannot provide either. So you'll forgive me if I'm not entirely convinced that we'll see the 18th development plan before we see any actual development in Port of Spain.